I haven't felt like this in forever. And then, God, I better be quiet. Okay, we're live. But wait, let me make sure. All right, I'm going to play the intro so we can catch our breath. I'm not going to lie.
Where to begin? Where to begin?
That was a very powerful 3 days. Last week was powerful, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had a show Friday morning, and then I didn't have one till Friday night. So I jumped on in the middle of the day, and I did a universal cast. Oh, I did a solo show, and I was looking at it was weird because I was like, usually when I do that, I'm amped up. I got a message. I'm like, I got to do it. It's like an orgasm, I got to like get it out. And I was doing that when I was like, why am I doing this? I don't feel good. I don't feel like, motivated. I don't feel. And then I looked at the clock and the calendar on my computer, and it said a 11202020. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Ones and twos, and then Saturday's 11212020, and then Sunday was 11222020. So our sister Amanda Lawrence, 3 years ago, when she used to come on quite a bit into 2017 and then 2018, and but I remember she posted something, and we talked about it, and I had gotten something very similar, and it was about twos and ones, clusters of twos and ones. Anytime from that point forward until the day we all internally combust and go to heaven or whatever's going to happen, that anytime you had a cluster of twos and ones, it was very powerful. Period. So we just had a whole weekend like that, and it's been like crazy. And so I went to bed last night. It wasn't that late. It was probably maybe 1 o'clock at the latest. It could have been 12. It was right after 12, 12:30 or so. And dream state is extremely busy. Like I'm expending all my energy in dream state. I'm barely able to sit in this chair and do these shows. I was supposed to meet up with 4 people this weekend about the Soulogy website and the network and broadcasting. Very important meetings. I didn't even have the strength to notify any of them that I couldn't do it until Sunday. And then I was like, hey, can we meet tomorrow, Monday? Or even some of them, I didn't even get that far. So, and the only thing I know is I'm supposed to jump in this chair and do these shows and meet people at their frequencies and in the physical, represent what we're doing, all of us, which is adding frequencies to never expanding vibration, and always show the fuck up. And I woke up this morning and I'm like, and it was probably about 8 o'clock, and Morgan kicked me out of the bed. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I was obviously snoring. I was in serious dream state. serious lucid dreams, like one after the other, and they're just like depleting my energy. So she, whatever, pushed me or whatever, and then I knew, okay, it's time to get out. So I went to the other room. I lay down from 8 to 9, then from 9 to 10, and they were just these intense dreams and a lot of information, which I can't even put my finger on. And then I woke up and it was 10:40. And I looked at the thing and I sent Day a message. I'm like, we had to start at 11:11. My time's 11:11 because there's no way, like I'm sitting here and I'm queasy. I feel like I want to vomit. I thought I was going to vomit all night long. I thought I was going to vomit last night. We were, communing, and there was a little that going on, and I was literally gonna throw up the whole time. The energy was just depleting, debilitating. It was like I feel like I need to go stick my finger down my throat and throw up. So what does this all mean? Something huge is going on. This is what I get from it. We're being cleaned out. If it's your body or your emotional body or your mental body, big time physical body, any of those are out of alignment. And I'm not saying we all got to be pristine and proper and look like Ken and Barbie dolls. All I'm saying is that yourself, like it's got to be in a range of alignment, of balance, of 0 point, of soul highway, whatever you want to call it. And if it's not, it's okay. But you're going to be. I think this is what's happening, and this is probably up until what the solstice next month. That you're being wrung out. So my body told me yesterday, be careful, pal. All right, be careful. So a friend's in town. We have another friend that lives around the corner. Y'all know these people. They decided that they wanted to have an early birthday. My birthday's not for what, like 2.5 weeks. They decided they want to give me a birthday party. So I did shows. I did 4 shows yesterday. I tried to lay down. I couldn't do it. I didn't really want to go. I love these people. And I had a great time. The minute I walked in, it was just fantastic. There was all these envelopes that one of them put up, and they said, like, they all had different words like courage and love and wisdom and community and faith. And each one of them had a $5 bill in it, and there was 20. So that was cool. I told my house, I said, hey, now I'm ready to go to the strip joint. But anyway, so anyway, I went over there and we had a great time. But my body was like talking to me the whole time. Like, hey, you don't eat anything, don't drink anything, don't do anything. And I just, ignored it. And I was fine. Nothing that I consumed or ingested bothered me. But something was going on. And it was because these two people, Morgan and I, were doing that thing where we're all exchanging code. No matter what it looks like, we're just in the presence. So it's like getting hit with a taser from 3 different directions, and I can feel it. So it wasn't so much the conversation; it was the meetup, right? So I think that what's happening is we're anything that's, and I think we've done a lot more. I think we made a lot more progress than we give ourselves credit for. And I think we're about to see the confirmation, validation of that in our own personal experiences. But I think it's going to be like this. And I'm not like this. I don't like to predict things. I would imagine for me, it's going to be like this right up until the 21st of December. And so I think it's that the stuff that you haven't dealt with in the body, mental, emotional, whatever, it's in your face, and it's forcing you to listen. And number 2, this is what I'm getting, is like, get your lunch pail and go to work every day. No matter how you feel, get to work, whatever you do, laying around in bed and resting is fine and great. And I can promise you, when you're in dream state, we are busting our ass. Something's going on. But there's something about further embodying and anchoring whatever it is that we're receiving consciously and unconsciously onto the earth. And I believe that's done by getting to work, even when you don't want to, even when you want to throw up, like right now. I'm done. Melissa's got a show today. First show with Martin McNichol in an hour and 37 minutes. So I'm real happy to see that. Thank you, Melissa. Who's up? I don't think I'll say anything else with you. No,
Michael.
serious.
Oh man, just energetically, it's been all over the place. But since the 20th, it's been crazy intense. I have nonstop lucid dreams that I'm in between sleep and awake, that I catch myself moving, but I know that I'm dimensionally somewhere else. And even when I'm coming into my body, I caught myself in the middle of sleep saying, gotta pull your back energy back in before you come back into your body. And I was like, wait, what was that? With full awareness of what I was saying. So it was interesting. It's been interesting. I mean, I woke up knowing that I went to a sacred site, and it specifically said Colorado, Arizona, and I was looking at what sacred sites that I was led to. And when I found it, also, it was in a way part of the earth, but at the same time dimensionally different, because there was a lot of different bodies of waters, and I didn't know what that meant, but I was like, maybe I was just there to activate something in the etheric. It's been interesting, but it's been nonstop travels, and I've been waking up tired, and I've been getting up, or I get waking up at weird hours, and I'm like, oh great, I have to go to work. Can I catch me a break, please? So it's been interesting. It's been really interesting, but there's just been nonstop stuff coming in, and just still trying to like digest energetically what that is.
Yeah, I keep seeing everyone's comments here, and everyone's talking about how nauseous they've been. And I've been like that for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then I've been having a lot of like head pain. So thankfully, Melissa's been doing energy work 2 or 3 times. And those have been really powerful experiences for both of us. But I just think also there's been just a deep desire to stay quiet. Like I don't really feel like saying much, doing much. I've just been to myself, and you're right. Most of my work's done in dream state, and I actually think that for a lot of us that have been doing this for a long time, once you get to a point where you start to become aware of what lives inside of you, and you're no longer projecting it into the external world, then dream state becomes like a billion times more busy, because then most of the karmic clearing you're now doing in dream state rather than using human form and relationship to clear those timelines. So I knock out hard, and when I wake up, like it's sometimes I'm so far gone in the inner planes that when I wake up, like it takes me a second to like really go like, oh, this is my reality, because it's like I'm gone. And then something else that I've had is I absolutely cannot conceptualize how I eat right now. Like with the nausea, my body like needs dense food like immediately to like help, counter or just, help that like the stomach to settle. And if I try to eat lighter, like vegetables or juice, my body like feels way worse. So I've been like, it's been sugar and carbs, and it's been like, it's been intense.
Yum.
Well, Melissa?
Every time I speak to him, he's scoffing food. It's the funniest. Like everybody's sharing their experiences, and I'm like, I haven't slept in like about a month solid, and I'm wide awake in the middle of the night, and early in the day I'm like a vegetable. But it's like it just takes down all of your mind stuff. You know, you said a couple of minutes ago, Michael, you're talking about processing so much in dream state. What I'm actually witnessing in real, the waking space, whatever way you want to word it, is a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of people's stuff is surfacing again.
Yeah.
As we're witnessing other people, as we're witnessing, how do I say this? As we're witnessing ourselves, in whatever shape or form that's being presented, good, bad, or indifferent. And for me, it's magic, because I'm at a place where I'm able to witness the progress I've made within myself, so I can see myself now either respond or react very clearly. Michael, you talked about the silent space as well. That for me is, I don't really want to talk to people, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just want to leave people with their stuff, and I want to be kind of left with mine. And that can rise as emotion, it can rise as chaos, it can rise as whatever it needs to, whatever way it comes up. But I just want to be left with mine. And I'm in awe when I witness the opposite in other people, because it's really everywhere, and it's like somebody's just turned up the volume on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beating our ass.
Or not.
Or not.
Like
True.
it really for me is a choice point. Like we know what this feels like. We know what it feels to be pummeled to the floor. We know what it feels like to be in the most elevated space. And I just feel now more than ever, and I spoke to Michael about this at some unearthly hour, that now more than ever, no matter what is going on around us, that we have to anchor, we have to bed down, we have to root our own frequency, our own energy, our own everything. We just have to really, no matter what's going down, anchor that and let whatever is playing out around us play out, but not get pulled into it to the point where you get pulled out of your heart center or your space so much that you get involved in the other story. Because I'm not interested in that shit. That's another reason that I'd rather stay in the silent space. Yeah, my physical body's kicking off. My head is like, Melissa, seriously, what time zone are you actually trying to function in here? But regardless of the external, of the commitments as a parent, as an employee, as a whatever, a friend, or just trying to catch up with the laundry, whatever it might be, you know, I have to maintain and look after, nourish my own before I nourish yours. And if me attempting to do that with you is going to be to my detriment, well, then that's back on me. And that's where I'm going to feel the burn. That's where I'm going to feel the backlash of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't have I'm not having like people project or anything. But then again, I don't talk to people. But the people I do connect with, there's no projection. I was talking about just the universal energy beating our ass. But I'm making a joke. Because you're right. We know how it feels, and I agree with what Michael said. Well, I'm open to what Michael said because it makes sense. And that is, I have asked the universe, let me purge in dream state, and it's happened. And I can totally see where whatever it is that I'm doing up there, or in dream state, I can see where I'm releasing stuff that way versus doing it the hard way. So I like that theory. And I think that's probably got some serious accuracy to it because in dream state, why else would, waking up absolutely discombobulated, totally, just totally off. totally. And there's so much energy being expended. I mean, I wake up, my stomach is absolutely empty. Like I burned everything out. I had to eat egg taco this morning, and I was nauseous. And I also like the fact that you said you're eating carbs, because I tried eating healthy. Like I ate 3 salads this weekend, and it was like, oh my God, something wasn't right. I thought, well, maybe it was the onions in the salad. They weren't big salads either. But I found that, tacos is good. Like tacos or a sandwich. Yeah, and I was feeling guilty for eating that way because my stomach, looks like I'm, 36 weeks pregnant. And I like what Melissa said too. We got a root, right? So be sure and tell Morgan that we got a root, and that's the way out. I didn't even know that was I didn't even know.
Only you could work that shit. Seriously.
Well, I didn't even know that was a term like that was used like that.
Come here, you know what I mean, right? So you wake up this morning, you feel like shit, your body's going, Todd, you're an asshole. Please put me back to bed. I don't want to talk to anybody. Deliver me food. I don't want to deal with life. And it's like literally in that moment, like that moment that you make the decision where you're going to go with your day.
Yeah.
And when I was talking a couple of minutes ago, it wasn't so much even I was talking about people like projecting at me, but I'm saying I'm witnessing where they've chosen the opposite of the nourishment.
Yeah.
And that then spills out in them obviously spinning out like physically. If I don't feel good in my physical body, I'm not going to go around and be feeling pure euphoric in my head. It's like I need everything to be in sync, and if they're not, that's my signal. Melissa, you need to do something, whatever it may be. Have pancakes, stay in bed for 2 hours, get up and run a mile. I don't know, whatever it might be to whoever is listening. But I am aware more than ever that it's my responsibility to anchor down what way I want to play out and experience my world in any given moment, more than ever before. Yeah. And so that's why I prefer the silence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I didn't meet up with anyone this weekend, because every moment I wasn't on camera, I was either watching a movie or laying down. Well, I was laying down either way. I wasn't doing stuff, right? I wasn't doing anything. I mean, it's like the other thing too is I don't have mind chatter anymore. And I think we've talked about this on the show. As the years gone by, there's a lot of people that don't have the mind chatter that they used to have. Mm-hmm. And that tells me that we're being very present, or it's a symptom of being present and just being. I was talking to my friend last night. She's like, all my guides keep telling me and she's been connected. I mean, she was participating in the harmonic convergence in 1987. All right. Long before the internet. Right. So she was, doing rituals and being, grid work and going around the world doing stuff like that back in the late 80s. But she told me, she goes, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I keep asking my team, my guides, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Because for 33 years, that's what she's been doing. Like, what's the next assignment? And they just keep telling her, you don't need to do anything. You just need to be. Now you can just be you. And so, like what you were saying, and we were talking about it last night, what do we want? Like for ourselves, we know we have our work and our missions, our purposes, but what do we want? Like what do you want? What do you want to create? And with no limits, and I think that's kind of where we're headed, or where we're at. I just want to say one thing too. So you had a dream state or lucid dream, Delia, and it was Colorado and New Mexico. Well, there's only one place that can happen, and that's in the Four Corners. The Four Corners is a very holy area. It's a very sacred area. So Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. And so there must be some significance to that, because several years ago in the original studio, I got downloads for probably about a week for that area, and I almost packed up everything I had and moved there. There's a Navajo reservation, a Zuni reservation, and as I understand it, that's a place where all the natives would meet near Sedona, in that area. So I don't know. I just feel like when things like kind of match or resonate or synchronize, we're supposed to mention them. So I just wanted to mention that. That's
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's been interesting, food wise. I've been mentioned to Allison, as I was the only other person I talked to. It's like, hey, try going from work to the store. I could not find any of the foods that I like, that I actually eat, that I'm comfortable eating. With food allergies and everything, I'm careful with what I consume. So then I left really upset. So the only thing I purchased was lemon poppy vegan muffins and popcorn. It's like, I guess this is dinner. So it's been weird, but at the same time, I got that overall, it's like, hey, my body's going to be getting ready for a cleanse, a purge. And every so often my body tells me, it's like, oh, it's time. So it's kind of funny because usually the angels and the guides talk to me in a different way about what's coming up. And even before coming on today, I was just connecting, and then they're like, yeah, you gotta chill out. You gotta slow down. Because I'm everywhere. I feel sometimes I'm like an octopus. Sometimes I can do so much and I multitask, and it's like, no, you need to like chill out, relax. And it's been in that state too of less communication, less talking, and I keep seeing it over and over again in the feeds, in people talking about this, and just being present. And it's gonna be more like that. It's gonna be more of being in the moment. Because then I see the projections, like Melissa was saying, the projections of where people are coming from. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I honor you. I see you. Don't got to touch that. And just continue moving forward. And then I can totally see that this is where the manifestation is going to take much more at part. It's just when you're being present, you're slowing down, you're stopping, you are taking inventory of where you're at, like I'm here, feeling the breath, feeling the heart. And then even when you want to desire something, boom, it appears. It's becoming more and more like that. And I feel it and I see it. But it's been a really interesting thing with everything that everybody's going through. So it's just like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one that's going through this weird stuff. And I see everybody going, I'm like, I didn't get nauseous. Energetically, I do. Like even when I hear Michael's poetry or his shows, it's always tissue has to be around, I swear. And I'm at work and it's just like I can't cry. So then it's like that energy tears. You're just like, I'm feeling it inside. And it's been amazing. I mean, even Melissa's stuff that she's been saying, it's just been expansive, and I'm so excited for your show with Martin. It's just two Irish people. It should be fun.
Thank you.
But
yeah, it's crazy with what you're talking about too. Because everyone on the comments and that's funny because Melissa and Dahlia, you both like popcorn, but
saw my face when you said it.
Yeah, that's why I saw that. But it's with the food. What I've come to realize over the years, because when I was an athlete, I would maintain a very specific weight. I was always like 153, and I used to get like my body like mass index, like I used to get everything measured because like I played collegiate sports, and then I said like I was a strict vegan for 6 years, and what's completely broken down throughout like the awakening and what I see for the world is it's a lot like we really are birthing the spirit And all of our conceptuality for how our body needs to react to the process, or how we want to eat, or what we want to do, all of that's being broken down. Like all of that conceptual thought, our relationship to our body is shifting. Before, we used to want to look a certain way, right? Like we had a specific body image, or we ate. There's a lot of times where you eat foods, to look a certain way. Well, now that we're shifting, what's happening is the body's intelligence is taking back over. So what I've noticed for myself is through huge, like right now, I feel like we're going through a huge portal. My body does what it wants to do. And so usually, like when I'm downloading or consciousness is expanding or poetry's coming in, usually I'm eating light during those times. Like it's juicing, fruits, vegetables. But when I'm going through huge purges and I see myself clearing in dream state, and I see, because everything's a reflection of the micro and the macro. So when I see the world purging and I see anger and affliction and I see what my body's clearing, usually that's when I'm going to be eating denser foods. And I think a lot of it is honoring the gift of transcending body identification. Like where, like I know I have so many friends that are like, oh my gosh, I've gained so much weight, or I'm this or that, but we're really birthing something. So it's like just like the sacredness of a woman being pregnant, and how in order to birth, the child, we have to rest, we have to eat, we have to nourish our body. Our bodies are doing something that our minds literally can't interpret, that they don't understand. So I think it's about when you just see the process and you start understanding it on a deeper level, it's letting go, right? Like I know whenever I go through the portal, I'm going to put on 10 to 15 pounds. Like that's literally just what happens. It's just like, boom, like, during Lionsgate, I put, and then naturally I start, I'm attracted to the lighter foods. Once we've shifted the energy and our vibrational frequency starts moving faster out of the purge, then my body naturally sheds. So it's really about like honoring that the spirit is expanding and feeling its presence, and as best as we can, letting go of the ego's grip on the way we're supposed to meet food, the way we're supposed to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like it's really just being present with the process and honoring the progression. And and someone said here after weighing, and I stopped weighing myself probably like 3 years ago. I had that, like, we were programmed that way, especially athletes, but I think a lot of people, and no longer weighing myself, just knowing that if I'm intuitively following the guidance of my body, I don't really need to know how much I weigh. I don't need to know anything else. Like literally just stopping and asking myself, like, if you really ask your body, it really will tell you exactly what you need. And someone even wrote on here, like, a lot of potatoes. Like I have been eating like a lot of potatoes, a lot of curries. So it's like our body will really tell us. And then going just off of what Melissa said earlier, and Todd has mentioned this over the course of a few weeks, is something is shifting where a lot of us that have kind of been in an isolated space for a decent amount of years, what we're witnessing in the collective is that huge breakdown where the mind is unraveling so fast and it can't keep up with what's unfolding. And that's why you see so much collective projection. But I think for a lot of us, like we had those deep breakdowns years ago, and by ourselves and in silence, where we felt like we were all going crazy and we didn't know how to handle the death of thought. And when we're experiencing the death of thought, and I've talked about this before, those thoughts move faster and they're more incessant, and you really feel like you're losing your mind. And so I know what you mean by that, Melissa, because it's even, I'm seeing people in real time, and I've done this. We've all done this. None of us are immune to the progression. It's a universal progression, right? Where you'll see literally like someone coming in and out of spirit and ego, right? Thought and pure essence. So like you'll hear their thoughts, right? And then you'll hear their spirit, and you can literally feel what is in command of the voice. And I love my conversations with Israel because we were talking yesterday, and whatever comes up for him, like if there's an experience that's being mirrored or if he feels triggered, he'll literally say, these are the thoughts that are formulating, but I know that these thoughts aren't real, that I'm literally meant to find a deeper message so that I can fall deeper into myself. And so we'll literally like explore each other's thoughts around the transmission of an experience until we can fall into a deeper place, right? So we'll see like, oh, that's the energy of a storyline, victimization, old story, like until we fall into that deeper dimension. And so like along with what you said earlier, Melissa, I do feel it is an important time to anchor our frequency, to be really mindful of the energy we're letting in, whether it's music, radio, television, and not from a conceptual standpoint, just from realizing how something's making you feel energetically. And yeah, so for me, it's been a lot of stillness, sitting outside in the sun, eating like I've never eaten before. Melissa calls me a hamster because every time she calls me, I'm stuffing food in my mouth. and just getting to a point where I honor that, honoring my body, thanking my body. Like imagine, and I don't know why this makes me feel slightly emotional, but imagine thanking our bodies, because our bodies are doing something unprecedented. Like our bodies are literally mutating so we can house the eternal light of the spirit right now. Like, right? Imagine not being hard on ourselves because we don't fit in our clothes, or we've done this, or we've done, right? Like imagine just being so grateful that our bodies are doing something that our minds don't understand so that we can experience the essence of our spirit. And so we can experience love in our body and bring it into the world. Like that's it's really a miracle. And so I know that we're all going through a lot, but at the same time, I think it's, I think that there hasn't been a better time to be alive or be a human, because we're witnessing a massive transformation. And as painful as it is, I think it's going to be really beautiful to experience love fully manifest, which I feel is happening.
Mm.
I don't know who's next, but
Melissa's next. And Melissa's going to have to. Melissa, take your time, because you said you wanted to head it out early. Take your time. Do whatever you want to, or talk whatever you want to talk about.
For me, this is just my experience, okay? Where I'm at now, I feel everything. I don't hear what you say. I don't see what you do. I feel everything. And in this space, I mean, you could say I love you, and what I will feel will be the truth. In this space, as I heard both of you guys speak, Delia and Michael, about this, the words honor the body, honor the breath, honor the heart, and honor the mind come up. When you honor your body, when you really utilize how you feel, your capacity to feel and navigate your way around, yeah, you're going to come out with or realize things like I want to feel comfortable within my own skin, as opposed to looking like, a stick figure or whatever. I've battled with my own body image my entire life through very distorted perceptions, and I've given myself a pretty hard time. But I also know that I know how I feel. I know what feeling good is now in my body, irrespective of how I see myself or others perceive me. when you honor the mind, you discipline your thoughts to the point where you choose you. And in choosing you, you create space to create. And when you create space to create, that's when the manifestations and the alchemy and the magic happens, like what Delia was talking about. When you honor your heart and you allow whatever emotion needs to rise, you're given more space and more synergy with everything to work as one. That could be, like I said earlier on, massive emotion or massive tears, massive joy. And honor the breath is for me just this stillness that I can witness and feel my way through everything. Like I'm using this now to navigate me through whatever is happening, whatever I'm experiencing. If it's a purge, if it's a initiation, if it's chaos, if it's calm, if it's elation, if it's face planting, if it's fear, I'm just feeling my way through everything. And that's all I know now. That's all I know for me to be really, really true. And I know that if I, for example, right now, this split second, open my eyes and look to the right where I see all the comments, or even look at you guys or anything, I know I probably look random. I don't give a shit. This is my point. I want to feel this place of balance that I don't allow myself, not anybody else, but I don't allow myself to derail my own train or come out of my lane, because I know now that it begins and ends with me. So for me, that's my mantra. I heard it during an ayahuasca ceremony a couple of years ago. Honor the body, honor the breath, honor the heart, honor the mind, and feel everything. Because when you feel everything, then you can deal with everything. I have no idea what I just said.
You just made a rhyme.
It was perfect.
If I can feel
was
everything, I can. Yeah. I'm starting to feel better now.
That Coca-Cola's kicking in.
Coca-Cola, water, coffee.
That's Tom. I need carbonated drinks right when I wake up.
Well, I have to drink water first. Yeah. So, yes, that was good, Melissa. You did
That was
ayahuasca
powerful.
ceremony. Say that again. What was the saying on the ayahuasca ceremony?
I just heard, like, when I leaned, actually, ironically leaned into, it was like the third day, leaned into my fears. Show me my fears. Show me what I'm afraid of. I heard those words really clear as day. Honor the body, honor the breath, honor the heart, honor the mind, and let them work in unison.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
what I was saying earlier, because they're all together, right? Like that. Like you can't service, and I don't think we have to be like super pious or. And I'm glad to hear that you're drinking carbonated drinks, and other people are talking about the popcorn, and several people mentioned other food that isn't like in alignment with vegan and I'm not making fun of that stuff at all, but I really think it's a time when whatever works for you works for you.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, what Michael's saying. Sugar and carbs. I'm just I'm just amazed at how depleted this 3-day period's been as of this morning. Like I could feel it coming on, off and on. Morgan and I talked about it. Different sensations. The nausea is huge. These sensations in my body. Yesterday, last night, all my joints were not aching like arthritically. They just had this weird feeling in them, almost like they were going to fall off or something. You know what I mean? In fact, my elbows still feel that way. So I realize that there's a lot of physical transformation going on in the body. There's no doubt about that at all, at all. And of course, you all were saying, and Melissa in particular, was talking about, and Michael too, the the stuff that you see happening in the mirrors that present themselves before you that are showing the transformation in a different way. And I think maybe that's another way to look at it, is which path do I want to deal with this? Do I want to take the Michael path and the Todd path and try to do as much as I can in dream state, lucid dream? That creates a challenge, because when you wake up and you got to do a show. But if you take the other path, like say you're going to go out and run every day and you're going to juice and there's going to be, in other words, there's going to be something is going to have to fill in that gap of not being attended to. Or another part of your life is going to, say you're on the physical and you're not dealing with some emotional stuff. So you're going to get mirrors that are projecting, or mirrors that are offering some emotional perspective, or you yourself might do it. So it's not to me, it's not like it's almost like you have, like when you have you see a horse buggy and you have a team of horses, and you've got, what do they call them? The thing, the little ropes there.
The reins.
The reins, yeah. So you got a rein. It's like a tiger by a tail with each hand. It is, and I really believe that we've actually mastered a lot of this stuff far beyond what we thought. I really do. Has anyone ever done that? Like you in school, scholastically or athletically, or even creatively. You take on something like a sport or an instrument, or it's studying for an exam, and and the whole time you're doing it, you're like, man. I know I'm going to get my, they're going to just beat my ass. I know I'm going to finish last, or I'm not good enough. Not like real self-defeating talk, but you just don't realize how much you're putting into it. And then the performance comes and you just kill it. And you realize, whoa, or the teacher pulls you out and goes, oh, you're in the top 5 out of 75 people here. And you're going, whoa, I didn't know that. It's almost like that. I think that we've actually mastered faceted aspects of our journey. Or when I say mastered, I mean like gotten it over whatever that percentile is. And those transmissions I got last week that I talked about, which would have been, I guess, about 10 days ago, that was a big part of it. Was the one part was, you guys, if you can't have unity in your community, how do you expect the world to do it? But the other part of it was, and it wasn't like you have done these things. It was more like you guys are all about to come into an awareness of what you've actually done and the power of it. And that's going to be a huge influx into the Earth grid. So I really think we've done a great job. And the thing I love about like this conversation is that we're not talking about, how we got it figured out, and I'm walking on fucking water, my ankles aren't getting wet, and I'm flying through the sky, and I don't project, and I don't get triggered. And we're actually saying, hey, this feels like this. And it's a very human, the human's totally involved with the explanation of the experience and is not being ignored or denied or subjugated. Yeah. Because for so long, our journey, if you look at it just as an energetic pattern, has been, I'm not a human. I don't want to remember that trauma. I don't want to remember my weaknesses and my failures. You distance yourself. I want to get out of here. Beam me up. Come get me, Jesus. All that. So now we're having these conversations, and I think this is indicative of must be going on in many, many places where people are just having real talk. Oh, by the way, isn't there a new show called Real Talk? It comes on in 58 minutes. But seriously, I think there's we met with our friends last night, and that's all it was. It was just real talk. It was so cool because I've known these people. Obviously, I've known Morgan. She's known me. I've known the other two for quite some time. And I've said this on the shows before. One of the great things about sitting in this chair is watching the transformations, because you get to see the person 3 months ago and then now and then 3 months from now, and you get to see it as I'm sure they see it in me. Right. And so last night was just, I mean, in fact, I when we left, I think it was 11. It was 11:11 when we left. I thought it was like 9 o'clock. You know, when you're in something and you pick your head up and you look at the clock and go, "Whoa, where did that 4 hours go?" It was that kind of experience, and it was just human. It was very human and very real, and I really feel that that's an important thing to promote and support and expand. And I think that's what we're attempting to do, or we are doing here at Soulogy. Delia Flores.
Yeah. It's been powerful. And thank you, Michael, for really touching upon that portion of letting go of the basis of what's conceptual as an athlete, as a person, and what's supposed to be the ideals. And basically, we're just shedding the construct of the ideals that have been set there for society. And to me, it really did struck a chord, because I'll tell you from experience, I was at one point almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
And I lost a whole person. And the journey that got me going was self-healing and realization during that time of how I created my own hormonal imbalance in myself, in honoring my body. And even now, it's just been, I mean, since I moved and everything else, the type that I'm like, how can I say it? I used to go work out twice a day, 7 days a week. And one of those was always going to be active. And in each one, I always did meditation, sauna, connection to spirit, where I learned to talk to myself, connect to spirit. They taught me how to do certain techniques and healings. Not nobody else, just me connecting with myself. And it really has pushed this whole entire thing that's been going on. I can't go to gyms. So then the alternative is running. I physically ground. So I used to measure myself, the weight and everything else. And I used to meal prep. And I've let that all go to now I intuitively eat. Even though I'm plant-based and I only do it because I have food allergies, I'm not attached to it. And if by all means one day I want a piece of steak, I'm going to go for the damn tacos because they're so delicious. But regardless of that, it's choice in life and everything else. And it's really, really gone back to that portion of learning how to talk to your body.
Yeah.
And having that conversation of the trigger. And one that I've learned too is just like how the body also does certain things in the self-defense. So somebody one time sexually harassed me at a function, and I didn't like that. And I felt, oh, was I being provocative? Those thoughts, the progress and everything else, it happens. So then my body reacted with retaining weight, making me feel what I was not attractive, that I'm not a certain way. So then also releasing that to realize what had been there, what was that, and to really accept certain things, also forgive the situation of how it happened, and to just let go, to really let go and get back into harmony with the self and the conversation of the body. And that's powerful to also realize how we talk about ourselves. Even when we jokingly say things now, we got to be careful in what we say. So I don't say I have and then put a label onto it. I say I'm working on balancing my life. I'm working in balancing myself. I'm feeling, and then I change that, because even more powerful that we are in this time, it's manifesting in our bodies. And the more that we're becoming fully aware in ourselves, our bodies, and in tuning with us, they're listening to what we say to each other, to ourselves. Even though it is our body, we are eternal souls. Yes, we might be different aspects of many DNA codes and all, but this vehicle vessel at this moment, this is where we're at. We might go visit and tap into many alternate different connections, and we might dial up and be a part of that. But in the end, when we dial back into it, we're here. We cannot divorce ourselves from it. And when we talk to ourselves and say, hey, how can I achieve certain things? Body, I need to work with me to have that conversation, not just to the angels and the guides, but we also have to acknowledge the body, the vessel is a powerful tool in this moment to push forward and continue doing something to expansion and creativity. And the same thing with the energy centers. We have those energy centers that are within us. And if you think about it and you project it out into the frequency in our energetic field, they do connect. Everything else connected. And when we have something that's being stuck there, it's not flowing purity. And however we do it, the body also absorbs that. So it's something that we really have to fully also acknowledge in ourselves. And thank you for Melissa and Michael really putting it into it. It's just like, boom, just something to also get back into. And it's also a reminder from my spirit guides. It's like, yeah, you got to start talking to your body more. You got to start talking to your DNA. You got to honor all those aspects, but you have to honor the human self first.
Yeah, I think that what you just said is really powerful and deeply resonates with me. And I think something I'm going to try to put into words right now, because what you just said inspired just some feelings I've had about how my relationship to my body, the world, and how people relate. And it's that when we go through the void state, right? That's where all timelines are being purified. And what we feel in the void state is we feel utter nothingness, because that's where all air, like all vibrational frequencies that are created in time and space, so emotion and thought, are being transmuted. And when we're not in the void state right now, a lot of times what we're feeling is the energy that lives inside of us. And what I've come to find throughout the years is that just finally being able to witness all the different ways that I've replaced one addiction with another addiction. Right? So like I had an addiction to working out and being an athlete. And at one time I've had an addiction to food, right? Especially once I had a brain injury and I could no longer participate in my body the way I used to. And I was stripped of that. It was seeing how I started having a relationship to food. And what we realize is that in the old paradigm, we were meant to experience the law of duality. And we were meant to experience thought and emotion subjugated by time. And now that we're moving out of that, we see all the different ways that we were constantly trying to feel in the old paradigm. So is it feel through food, feel through being an athlete, feel through status, feel through financial gain or material, material ownership, feel through the role of I'm a parent, I'm a husband, I'm a wife. This is my role, right? You hear all of those archetypes of not living vicariously through your child. Really, if you take all of these experiences, what we were all trying to do in the old paradigm is we were trying to feel something other than our pain. And unconsciously, what we were trying to feel was the light of our spirit. Because when you anchor the essence of who you are, it is directly tethered to peace, joy, and bliss and love, because that's what you are at your core. That is the fabric of creation. So now as we're all of this energy is being transmuted inside of us, right? The body's coming back online. All of the different spiritual faculties are coming back online. We're no longer just living through sensory perception, but we're living through the evolution of sensory perception and the amalgamation of sensory perception with the spirit rather than with pain or desire, right? all of the different manifestations of fear, desire, envy, greed, guilt, shame, all those are being transmuted. And so now our senses are experiencing the world through the light of the spirit. And so now we're feeling again, right? The spirit's in the body, it's being activated and we're feeling. So we no longer need, because we're not as out of balance, we're not looking outside of ourselves to feel. We're feeling from the inside out rather than trying to feel from the outside in. And I think that you just, Dahlia, you used your personal experiences and really created a powerful opportunity for all of us to witness the different ways that, you know, like when you were speaking, I was going through all the different ways that I've tried to feel unconsciously, you know, throughout my life, because I wasn't feeling alive. I wasn't feeling the presence of essence. And yeah, I thought that was powerful. And one other thing I want to say was something else that really came up for me this weekend that I thought was really, really powerful was Morgan released an article about the spiritual ego. And that one, like, I thought was so beautiful because there was this, I mean, the whole article is powerful. There's one specific line that I remember really stood out to me. And she said, are you being a part of a conversation because you're bringing presence? Are you trying to, like, basically overshadow or take a conversation? That was one line. She also talks about how when we start to awaken, one of the fastest identities the ego will attach itself to is now spiritual superiority. And I just thought it was powerful because how you were just talking a few minutes ago, Todd, about this conversation. This is what it is. This is everyone sharing what they're finding. You know, it's a trial by error. This is kind of work for me. This works. This is what's happened with food. I was vegan for 6 years. Then I was hospitalized because I personally was so deficient. And, you know, I think it was B12 or something like that. But like, we're all learning as we go, and it's a sharing. And I know when you look out, I look at everything as universal, right? As I always say this, as one organism. And so why I see such a karmic retribution throughout the spiritual community is because I see it throughout the world, right? The spiritual community is part of the one organism, just like the church was a part of it, just like every world religion, like every culture, like every one individual, because we are all everything right now. And I liked that article because when I've witnessed a lot of this division, which was honestly something that used to intimidate me, especially when I started sharing, because I was like, well, if you don't believe this, then you're excluded by this. But if you believe this, you're included by that, but excluded by that, right? And a lot of it is political schisms, right? What's happening for all of us is there's a complete stripping down of everything that we thought was true. In its simplest form, a spiritual awakening is the awakening from conditioned thinking that's bound by energy. We're becoming something that honestly we aren't going to ever really be able to put into words. Just like Todd and I won't ever really be able to put into words what it was like for Melissa to give birth to children, right? We aren't ever going to really put into language what it means like to anchor the formless in the physical world. And I think that something that's beautiful and something that we get to remember is that everything in the old paradigm is completely being transmuted as it must, because it's universal law, and we're shifting into the age of Aquarius. And with that, the truth is, I feel, from my perception, the only thing that will be left in every form is the housing of the eternal. And I think that's the essence of love. And so I think that just with what you said, Dolly, I thought it was, you really articulated it beautifully, just your process. And I feel like that's universal. And I feel like that's been my process. And I thought that was beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that was riveting. That was really riveting. Powerful. That was the
I
best.
swear, sometimes I come up and I don't know what I'm going to say. And then probably go afterwards and have a moment like, what the hell did I say? Man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it speaks to, it wasn't just what you said, but it's just the way you said it.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, a great thing about sitting in this chair is I get to watch, as people watch mine, I get to watch people transform. And I've heard you speak a lot, and you know that was just. I think it's it's a combination of like what Michael was talking about a second ago, like spiritual confidence. You know, everybody's being pushed out there one way or the other. Melissa had to go because she's got a show in 41 minutes with Martin McNichol right here. Her first show, Real Talk. But yeah, I think it's a combination of spiritual confidence. We're all being pushed forward. We like to talk about it. Hey, let's go do this. You come with me. Which we ought to just say, hey, I don't want to go. I'm scared by myself. Go with me. But we're not being given that luxury anymore. We're actually all being, in a great way. In a way, we're being called out, and it's in a good way. It's in a great way, because it's actually for our own expansion of our own self-awareness, of our capabilities, of our supernatural qualities, of of what we really are in the flesh too, which is amazing. But this thing that you're talking about with the body, like that's like that's like sermon 111 in the Soulogy energy field. Like that's just, I mean, that's when we say we have put it arms distance the human, because we have in so many ways put our human aspect second, and maybe it doesn't even matter why or how it happened. Maybe we were conditioned to do that. Maybe we were conditioned to believe we were small, all whatever. But now it's a little bit different. And so what's different now is you hear a sister like this start talking about her journey, and starts talking about her relationship and her communication with her body, and how it is a priority. In fact, it is the priority. It absolutely is. And it's kind of weird, because we came into this incarnation with all this stuff that we already had. But what did we not have? We didn't have this. And the whole time, here we are on this existential journey, trying to find the meaning of life. And we get back to Morgan's post. We have these spiritual bombs drop on us, and these epiphanies and revelations, and we think, oh my God, I was such and such, and I can do this, and I can do that, and I can go to this planet, and I can do all this stuff. Yet it's almost like the body is prepared to be that screaming inner child that's going to do whatever it takes to get the attention it needs and deserves. And the thing I love about the prospect of this is, even though this is the body has been our vehicle, it's not been from our own perspective and self-judgment and all that stuff, considered to be at the same level as the rest of our aspects. They're all the good stuff, and the body is like, oh, here we go, bring it with us, this heavy, dense thing. But what's really fascinating to me is that this transformation, talk about embodying or anchoring, this transformation is taking place in the body.
Yeah.
And that's every bit of the mental and the emotional, because we've all had our turns there, having to release and deal with things, but it also has it in the physical. And I would just caution anyone and everyone, because based on this conversation today, you've got you've got answers and methods all over the board. I eat sugar, I eat fruit, I eat pizza, I drink Cokes, I drink water, I'm vegan, I'm not. You got all these all these things across the board. And I would just caution myself and everyone else to be careful in judging yourself as you find out what your recipe is. What is the ingredients for you to be at maximum potential? That's a decision that obviously should come from the creator, which is me and you, for ourselves. I think there's more of a threat with the thoughts that we carry when we ingest something or do something or don't do something, the judgments. There's more, to me, energetic, counter productive energy in something like that than there is in the physical qualities of something I ingest. But I think this is good, because I think we're talking about this as we head into the last 30 days of before the solstice. This is the home stretch. This is where the body comes into alignment. And I think that absolutely, like everything else, happens in the energetic field first. So that conversation, like Delia's talking about, that conversation is where it starts. And that conversation and whatever comes out of it is unique to that person that's having it with their own body. And along the lines of what other things you were talking about, including what you were citing about Morgan's post, it's all and what Melissa was saying. This is a really good time too to stay in your own lane and practice what works for you. Don't throw your dogma on anyone else, and don't set your boundaries up to where if anybody comes at you with their shit, just say, hey, whoa, back off, Jack. I'm doing my thing. I'm Mexican Cokes and donuts. And that's what's working for me. So, and you sleep 16 hours a day and Melissa sleeps 3.
Yeah.
And, but whatever works for us works. And I think it's great that we're having this conversation. Now it's over to Michael. I found this old song. I know you guys are too young to remember it. There was a guy named B.W. Stevenson, and he did a song, My Maria. Oh, Brooks and Dunn remade it. Not that I listened to them, in 1996. So I was going to replace the word Maria with Marina.
Marina, are you here?
Is Marina still here?
Let's see. Drop an emoji, Marina. No, but I really felt like, I know I touched on Morgan's post. What I really loved about the post is I feel like it carries a vibrational frequency of what the new paradigm coding is, which is it's a sharing. It's not a theology. It's not ideation. Yeah. And you can feel the energy of it. And so even like this, it's a sharing. And a lot of what you'll feel is, if you feel any trace of hierarchical energy, it's of the ego, right? Because moving into a space where we really don't need anyone. When you start to expand into the timeless state, you don't need anyone or require anyone to think or perceive or vibrate the way you do, because you understand that there are certain forms that are playing a powerful and intricate role, but that they're not meant to shift consciousness into the new paradigm. That's not what they signed up for. So sometimes what you see out there is there's an ideology out there where everything needs to perceive the world at this state of consciousness, right? Why doesn't everyone see that this is evil, or that this is perfect, or this is good? Well, not everything's meant to, right? Some forms are literally inspiring and coded with affliction or these energies to wake up other forms who are meant to bring in the codes of the new paradigm. So literally everything's working together. Like everything's working together. Every form is working together. It's the only thing that is constantly kind of is judging the perfection and manifestation of the paradigm shift is thought, which is the thing that's actually dying and being transmuted. So I really, and with her article, it's like it's talking about, and I love how it said, I start with myself. That's what her article said. Like, where am I? And then I even looked at a couple of the comments, and someone was like, man, I've been working on this for 5 years. And, you know, like I want to get better and stay present. And I know that happens. I read an article, a brilliant article years ago. And a lot of us, when we first awaken, this is like, for a lot of people, it's a universal experience, is the savior complex, right? When you first start having transcendental experiences and the spiritual faculties start coming on, you start seeing spirit guides interacting. The first thing that the ego that's dying starts interpreting is it wants to take on that new identity, that it's different, right? Like, I'm seeing spirits, I'm seeing colors, I'm seeing this. But what happens is, as the ego continues to dissolve and the spirit continues to expand, you just start to see that that there's just one movement of force. There's this force, like the Star Wars, living inside of all of us, and it's manifesting. It's manifesting the experience it wants to have, and it's having its own experience in all of us. And I keep talking about this greater vision, right? Like, if our individuality is still completely intact and we're not experiencing the formless state, we're still seeing from the story of Todd Medina or Michael Mejia or Dalia Flores. But when we start to experience the merge, we start to see out of the optics of the one eye. And in that, we no longer question the timing, the perfection, or the experience of what's manifesting within us and outside of us anymore. And that's all I have to say, Dalia.
How do you? Darn, Melissa's not here. Yeah, I really do. I did like that article she wrote. It's just been really amazing and putting to words where most people, when they say they have to, they do everything else, the structure. And it's the structure of what it's supposed to look like and how everything's supposed to fit in a box. We don't longer have that. And it's finally also letting away and seeing. And it's one of the biggest things that I saw too when you were talking about seeing through the eye, like that one eye. I literally got the image. It's not the third eye, it's the heart eye. I literally saw the image of an eye in the heart as you were speaking. And I was like, and looping through into the third eye, everything else, if you can see things with your heart and use the high discernment, you can see both sides, honor and overall respect where everything is at, but see that everything's being played out with divinity in front of us as well. And not have no attachments to everything else that's on there. The noise. And I'm finding that right there is also a way that many people just like, okay, I see it, I don't gotta interact with it. And it's lovely to see all the expressions that are coming out, which it's being powerful and moving as things. It's just like you get hit with the activation and then you hit with another activation. And I'm loving these conversations, especially what Soulogy stands for, because this energy exchange and this coding that's happening, there's just another layering of flowering that's happening within the human soul.
Yeah.
And to take it and to integrate however we the body, the mind, the soul desires and is feeling called to do so. There's no attachment to what is being brought out. And this is what's beautiful about this platform right here is conscious conversations are being brought out, no matter if people agree or don't disagree, or they feel no attachment, they don't resonate. You end up taking in the code and you have desire in yourself, whatever code is being exchanged, to do something with it or just let it go.
Yeah.
Mm.
She's on fire today.
I know, man. She's like birthing. She's birthed today.
I woke up. I got woken up early in the morning, and then
What was his name?
I was
kidding.
Oh, let's not go into that one.
I'm just kidding. I'm bad. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
I think we need those really breaks of the energy sometimes. Just laugh and
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I cry too much. So I like to laugh.
Mm. What were you saying, Delia?
Well, I got woken up and I was posting stuff on Instagram, and then in the middle of a post, I got like, no, fully get up. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to like write something? I have a notebook in the foot of my bed. And I was like, no, don't grab that notebook. I have a notebook on the side of my dresser. Don't grab that one. It was asking me to be specific, and it was in one of my purses that I use for work. And I grabbed my notebook, and then I already was open to a page, and I was like, what the hell? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I didn't realize I wrote a poem. Like sometimes when I tend to now take a notebook with me, because the information that comes in, if I'm typing, it's like, oh, open page, log in, and then let it come flow. But I didn't realize I wrote a poem. So I wanted to read it because it was just so bizarre. I guess it wants to be expressed.
Yeah, do it.
I am the rock. I am the tree. I am the metal. I am the fire. I am the crystalline frequency in it all. I am the water that holds all the frequency of unity of everything. The code, the knowledge, the record that is timeless. Honor the soul, honor the life, honor the journey, honor the joy, honor the pain, honor the sorrow, honor the scars of the past, honor the love and be love. Unlock the key of the joy, unlock the frequency of the divine inside of you. That is unity of it all.
Jeez.
That was
I
didn't
going
even
on
remember.
here? Delia's like a volcano going off. No, it's good to see.
Someone just wrote, can Dahlia give an example of talking to the body?
Yeah.
Like how you what you do.
It's a dialogue. Yeah, it's a dialogue. And basically you're talking to yourselves, okay, body, what are you feeling? I talk to my body, ask it what it wants to eat. And if I receive an answer or images, picture, flavor, taste, then I go with that. And then that's how I cook. It's just, what does my body wants to eat? So I also talk to myself. It's like, why am I feeling this way? It's like talking to your heart. It's talking to your emotions. You're talking to your spirit and your mind. And just going with what's unfolding. It might take a little while because, it's something new. And then I go into it. It's like, oh, this is the reason. It comes up to me and it's like, okay, what does this really mean? And to me, it's always been about what's the program that's behind it? What's the root of it? And then I find if it's something of self-worth, is it overall self-esteem, lack, being seen, things like that, and it'll pop out to me. And then I'll work with that. And then it's like, where in my body is that being presented? What can I do to shift it? And then I ask my body to please allow me to I do energy work. So I do energy work with my body. But at the same time, it's asking my body, can you make this easier? Can you align with me? And then getting to the pain and the holding. If I have pain in my body and I'm holding it, asking that I'm okay and I'm ready to release it. And it's just a conversation.
Yeah. I see it as, for me anyway. So there's always been that voice since we can remember, right? You always have, like, who are you talking to, right? So there's that part that is the mental chatter that's fading away, you know. And then there's this other part that's always been there, right? You know, it's always been there. And to me, it's made up of all these different aspects as I look back on my life now. But like, to this lady's question, the body, like this year, the body's that aspect has stepped forward, and it's distinct, and it's part of the composition of that main voice. But this particular part of it is, it doesn't, and for me, it's very, obviously these voices, to me, they're very, it's an intuitive kind of thing, right? And it's been saying things to me, and I'm not even asking it anything. Like, go eat this, or don't eat that, or go order some, like, just different things. I can't really explain it, but it's there. There's no doubt. It's there. Last night, that voice, right? So Morgan asked me last night, who's asking the question? I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, the question, like when you have a question, who's asking the question? And I said, because I was telling her about, well, like what you're talking about right now and what she's asking about. There's a part of me asking, and there's a part of me listening, and there, it's, what is that? She goes, well, who is that one asking the question? And I said, well, I never thought about it, but I would have to say now it is my ego, my human, all of whatever all that is. And but it's at a much more, it's like, in other words, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's now come to be part of this. And this conversation is actually part of my expansion, my continuing expansion. It's not the chatter anymore, because that was the same voice. Why are you doing this? You're not good enough. And now it's not doing that. Now it's working in cooperation as part of the team. Right. And I don't know if it's the ego, and it doesn't really matter the semantics, but it's the small human, I would call her, the human, the physical human. And that's what I see happening with myself and others. And what you see occur is what's happened to Michael when he stepped out, what just happened to Delia now. It's these steps of faith and conviction and courage and love and service. And it's got, to me, it absolutely has a connection or a correlation with the bringing the human voice back into the multidimensional party, because it's been sitting over here like the redheaded stepchild. Here we go, and now it's the golden child. Like, it can't be done without that part of us. We can have a ride and we can go through the motions, but it's that piece that is the like the elixir, like the accelerator, like the catalyst for unlimited potential beyond what we've already brought in with us. It's and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's an absolute beautiful thing, because you're not looking at someone going, oh my God, they have the Magdalene energy, or they have an Egyptian priestess energy, or they have Rumi energy, or they do. But it's Michael that you love, and it's Delia that you love, and it's Morgan that you love. And I think what's happening is, it only makes sense because we are on the path to oneness. And as Morgan told me a long time ago, the path to oneness is through through individuality. So that means through the owning and embracing and allowing and transforming and expanding of the individuality, the appreciation of the Michael, the Day, of the Todd. And it only makes sense as the collective awareness continues down this path that we're going to start seeing, because it is a collective ascension, we're going to start seeing ourselves, the beauty and the love and the laughter and the wisdom. We're going to start seeing more and more and more of that in the mirrors, the physical mirrors in our lives. And that is going to be a simultaneous, chemical reaction of the individual itself blossoming. And so what does that mean? It means that I love myself more. It's true. And it's not a cliche. Like what Delia just said, that's fucking balls, man. I'm like, what? Like, I didn't know that. Not only that, and then she starts telling, she's paying homage to her body.
Mm-hmm.
So what is she really doing? She was paying homage to herself. Like, what part of our multidimensional makeup could bring you that? Mother Mary steps into your bedroom, it's really an aspect of you, starts talking to you, and you're like, holy moly, wow. Like we're already in that situation, creating a subordinate position, a subordinate perspective, or a subordinate place compared to this part of us that is us. Now we're talking about some, like in this example, somebody's paying homage to their body, to themselves. This is like huge. This is the one time, in my opinion, this is the one time that the human aspect is the central point. There is no hierarchy, but it is the one that's in the center of the circle of life as all the other aspects shine their light on it. This is the humans. What did Andy Warhol say? 10 minutes of fame. I mean, this is the humans' time to shine. It won't come back. You'll always be part of the team, but wow, this is so raw and so anchored and embodied and physical that this whole dense atmosphere and dense body, based on what we know about the rest of the team, is actually turning into something that's beyond the rest of the team, because it came from a different place than the rest of the team. It came from the soil to the soul, the dirt, the grime, the rocks, everything, all the way up. So we have, what? Candace says, I love Franco says, we have only been playing with 3% of our capacity. That's the truth. We have, wait a minute. Melissa's, hang on. So we have Melissa's show with Martin McNichols, the first guest. It's called Real Talk. Starts in 14 minutes. 1 hour after the completion of that show is Isabella Green from Sedona. I don't know if you remember him, Michael. I remember her, Michael, but she's very cool, very powerful. And then tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, which would be 2 hours after Isabella's show's over, we have the beautiful, sexy, awesome Yvonnya Bartholomews is coming on. And so we always have a very powerful show. And I'm going to dig up her. She wrote a song after she hadn't played guitar for 5 years. She wrote a song about 1.5 years ago, and it's I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's absolutely incredible. So I'll play that. We'll play that it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
The golden child, right? Or
yeah.
Child of the sun.
Yeah. It's powerful. So thank you both for everything that you do. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us, allowing us to keep doing this by the seat of our pants every day through your love and support and contributions. Anything else? Y'all got anything else?
No, I just had to ask, Michael, who do you have on Friday? Your show.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to confirm today, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Gabriella Young from Sedona, who's an amazing poet. She channels Rumi and Hafiz, and she's been one of the poets that's inspired me most in life. So I hope that everyone's able to join.
Awesome. So
Right on.
we look forward to seeing it, you guys all.
All right. You take care. See y'all later. Bye bye. Let me go take